I want to start this conversation with saying Lori Richardson is amazing. She's both kind as well as nice, as well as smart, as well as she does stuff, right? And this is not just a commercial for Lori. First of all, we've known each other for a long time. Second of all, she never asked for anything. She's asked for one thing in the 8 years that I've known her. And she's always doing really, really interesting things, right? She's smart, right? She's a little bit of a community organizer, right? She's got a mission to help elevate women in sales, which is the same as me. I always thought my daughter's 28, the amazing Sally Tyre. Sally Tyre, when she graduated University of Delaware, said, I'm going to move to New York. I'm going to go to law school. I'm going to pass the bar. I'm going to be a public defender in the Bronx. And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty, and then she did. And
Wow.
she did all those kind of things. I wanted to cry. I was there sitting with my wife when she called us 2 years ago, and she goes, "I'm like, oh my goodness, on your first shot." And now she lives in Manhattan. She goes to the Bronx all the time to represent people who have a constitutional right for an attorney in the Bronx, which is, she loves it and amazing. And she was like, Babe Ruth, this is what I'm going to do. And talking about intention, right? Amazing.
Yeah.
And then, and so you remind me of that. You remind me of somebody who likes to do important stuff. You are kind. You are thoughtful. You're professionally persistent, right? And
Yeah.
like part of it is like, you just got to do it. I got a couple of calls today that I have to hold people accountable, right? And one of the good things about me, oh, by the way, I'm Dan Tyre, right? I'm a friend of Lori Richardson's. I'm the CEO and founder of Tyre Angel. I have done 6 startups in the last 46 years, 2 unicorns. First one, Businessland, before anybody.
Businessland.
Yeah. Do you know Businessland?
Yeah, I used to sell computers.
Amazing. All right. None of your
Okay.
podcast listeners, none of the people on your website will ever hear of Businessland. They're like,
No.
what is that? Is that like a fun park for executives? I'm like, no. It
It was
was at the
good.
time one of the fastest growing businesses.
It was
in
awesome.
Went from $100,000. This is a great story. I went to school at Colgate University in
Yeah.
upstate New York. You ever been to Colgate University?
Yep.
It's this tiny little town in Hamilton, New York.
Yeah, they have
Right?
hockey.
A good hockey team. Yes.
That's why I know them.
A beautiful, beautiful campus.
Yeah.
And I decided to go there. I never went to the school before that. It's in the middle of nowhere. I got there and met incredible people. It was a great liberal arts education. I'm so proud of the fact that I graduated from Colgate. Back then, it was $2,000 a semester.
Wow.
$2,500, right? And I know that because I worked my way through university selling books door to door. That's how I became a Dan Tyre growth guy, is that I met 10,000 people in Portland, Oregon, and Bellingham and Seattle, Washington over 2 summers to make enough money to the university. Anyway, when I graduated, I went to work for the worst run company in American business. This was called the Computer Store, and they were horrible. Nepotism problems, inventory problems, management problems, didn't have the right stuff. And I was there for 11 months. I was the top salesperson because I knew how to sell, right? And then one day my boss, Roger, comes in and he's like, I'm quitting. And I'm like, you're quitting? He's like, yeah, I'm going to a store. I'm like, look, it's a small business. It's going to grow very quickly. I'm like, okay, knock yourself out. He goes, no. I want to take you with me. I'm like, I already have a job. He's like, I'll give you $75 more a month. I'm like, yeah, I'm a starter guy. So I left my job, my shitty job at the computer store. I went to Businessland. They had 3 locations in California, 1 in Texas, and they just opened 1 in Boston. And it went from $100,000 of revenue to $1.4 billion.
Yeah.
Right?
They were my competitors I sold against on a regular basis.
And we're company owned, and it was IPO'd and secondaried. And Murray Dennis was the brilliant strategist that started in Boston. And then I followed him around. He ran the West Coast, and I got to LA, and then he ran the whole country, and then he moved me back to New York. And I became a turnaround expert. And a lot of stuff that I learned about people, every business is a people business, is like learning how to sell computers. Right?
Wow.
And then my last unicorn is HubSpot. And everybody knows HubSpot. The most incredible company I've ever been associated with. My 4th startup that got bought out by Microsoft, my boss was Jim Wilson. His boss was Brian Halligan. And I worked very closely with Brian Halligan. And when they started HubSpot, he called me. He's like, you're a good startup guy. And I'm like, yeah, but I've got a job. I'm a president of a software company here in Phoenix. He's like, no, you gotta join me. And I'm like, no, I got a job. And he's like, you're making a huge mistake. Anyway, I joined HubSpot as employee number 6 as the first salesperson, worked for the brilliant Mark Roberge, who I still
Yes.
work for now at Stage 2 Capital.
I work
Right?
for him too, and I am sales coach at Harvard Business School a couple times a year.
Amazing, right? What makes Mark Roberge such a nice guy?
I don't think he's nice. I think he's kind.
He's kind. Okay, we're gonna dissect that, but he's also super smart.
He's very smart, and he can figure the context out. He's really good at explaining things, and he's done some amazing role plays with students that I was just really blown away by.
Yeah. He let me sit in the last extension program at Harvard
Oh.
Business School, and it was super fun.
Oh,
He
that's
forgot to
fun.
mention schmarketing, which is a term that I invented it with Mike Volpe. I got to give him
I
that.
didn't know that. I
Mhm.
didn't know you invented it.
Sales and marketing pushed together.
Yeah.
Professor Thomas Steenberg, who was at Harvard, I think it was business school, not undergrad, heard that term and he goes, "That's funny." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then he wrote it up in a case study. My nephew, Thomas Carrier, just went through Harvard Business School and they still use it as a case study, right?
Oh.
It's marketing. He's an employee of HubSpot. And I'm like, they don't even use my name. And I know Thomas. And I would thank him many times that he helped me or let me lecture.
That's
him.
ridiculous.
I'm the Forrest Gump of technology.
Yes.
Number one, I've been around for a long time. Number two, my goal. What's my goal, Lori?
Your goal? Well,
Yeah.
your goal is to do more good for the universe,
Yes. Isn't that a good goal?
right?
Do the most good for the universe. That's right. I picked that up from my son, Eli, who's like, I'm like, Eli, what do you want to do for your life? And he's like, that. And I'm like, okay, I'm stealing that. He's like, well, you're stealing what? I'm like, I'm stealing that phrase. That's my new mantra. I'm doing the most good for the universe. And I say it all the time.
Yeah.
It helps. First of all, people like it. People didn't like I wouldn't say a lot. But number two, it's true, right? I bust my tail to try to do what's right, what's moral, what's ethical, to stand up for underserved communities, including women, right? The whole reason why I know and happy to work with you is because I always thought by the time Sally was in a professional that we would have equality, gender equality. It's not even close. It's going to be
Yeah.
another 250 years until men and women have true equality in the marketplace. And of course, right, you're doing your part, elevating sales experts, right, who had been in the room for the last 25 years who had to do 3x what a guy had to do,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah, that's the
it's not
Sales
fair.
Decades project that we just launched this year. But also we have stories on the podcast about women in sales and, women who are managers, women who are leaders, women who are SDRs. We want to share to let people know that if you're having a really bad sales experience, you might be in the wrong place because sales is an admirable profession and sales is a helping profession. I'm a helper. I wanted to be a teacher when I grew up. So
Amazing.
yeah, so that's so funny to hear that Businessland story. I love that. Well, Dan
Amazing.
Tyre is the only person that's ever railroaded my podcasts. This.
Amazing.
Yeah, you did a really
Sorry
good
about
job.
that.
I want to welcome you. And I have a few goals, and one of them is that I want to do this recording because you are an incredible human being yourself, and you inspire me. And when I feel the least down in the dumps, which I occasionally do, I lean toward optimism all the time. But everybody has tough times, and when I went through a tough patch, I think about all the comments that you say, and they're so supportive, and you support yourself and you support other people with what you say, and it's really important, and it's probably one of the most important things you can do in sales, right? So
No question. There's skills, there's motivation. I'm the motivation part. And I know it works. And it's science, right? And it's not just me. There's lots of people out there. Gary Vee is doing it. You're doing it, right? Jen Spencer's doing it, right? Mark Roberge is doing it. All these people.
yeah, but
right?
you're special, Dan. You're special. And I want people to follow you on LinkedIn and sign up for your newsletter and be part of your
Awesome.
community because it's really incredible. And I don't endorse a lot of things.
Oh, that's so nice. Yes.
Yeah, you do a quarterly community call, which is really amazing. It's quarterly, right?
It is. 4 times a year, we get on with 100 to 200 people, and we get them all fired up. And one of the things that's been a little loud, I was voted the loudest person in HubSpot 3 years running. And Brian Rogers was like pounds and was a cheerleader in college. Man, he had the pipes, but you could hear me all through the building. And it was kind of my shtick, right? I'm quiet, soft-spoken. That's the personality character. But most people like the loud kind of thing. And when I do my public speaking, last year I did 50 presentations across the world. Went to Bogota, was in Chile 4 times. I went to Latvia, Estonia, Finland, right? Did the United States, Boston, San Francisco, all the time. I'm pretty funny, right? I'll drop a few jokes here today and you guys can judge whether I'm funny, right? But I always ask, do you want more jokes? You want more content? What do you think people say, Lori?
What?
They say jokes. They're like, I've been sitting in this conference for 3 days. Man, I don't need another guy just riffing on the scale in the modern era. I want jokes. I don't want good jokes, which I don't really have, but I got some dad jokes, right? And I got some funny stories. I got lots of funny stories. Oh my goodness. Maybe I'll tell
I know you do, and you share them generously. So people need to sign up to hear more and read more from you. I want to talk about mindset today, though, because a lot of people have, for a number of different reasons, have had a different experience this year, I would say, and maybe even part of last year. People feel like they're maybe in a downward spiral in some cases. Other people are doing well, but I've just found more people that are more paralyzed, moving slower. And I believe that mindset is the key to helping you, because ultimately you can't change a lot of things around you. You can only change how you react to them, your mindset, and you can be the influence for other people going forward. You can make a difference like Dan does. So tell us a little bit about mindset and goals.
Okay, mindset. They're 2 different things. Just like
Yeah.
kindness and being nice, being kind and nice, 2 separate things.
Yeah.
Mindset and goals, right? Mindset is fascinating because 99% of your world happens between your 2 ears, right? All the external kind of factors that happen, especially if you're in the first world, right? It depends on whether you're dealing with. And I was blessed with the fact that when I grew up, right, I had deterministic parents who always told me I couldn't do stuff. I was too short. I was too slow. I was not smart enough, all these kind of things. That's just what the way they were brought up.
I would have
Right?
thought the opposite. That's so funny.
But it's a blessing, right? It's a great understanding of mindset because it turned out it was a blessing because when I was 25, I'm like, wait a second. I read this book called Learn Optimism. And Learn Optimism is all about you can be as happy as you want to be. I'm like, no, that can't be true. And I'm like, yes. And I read the book, Martin Siegelman, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And what it says is that if you adopt the right mindset, right, you can do anything. It doesn't really matter what the external factors are. What really matters is your perspective of it. And it's common knowledge now to talk about it as a growth mindset. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I could be as happy as I wanted to be, right? All that stuff that I learned in my early years, that's a bunch of head trash. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking this to the extreme. So I'm the mayor of Danville, right? I am just like as happy. I am delusionally happy and focused. And part of it is a foundation of service, right? I have found the value isn't making $1 billion. Who needs $1 billion? The billionaires, yeah. You can drive 15 cars. So what? The 14th you'll never even see. Or you can help other people, which is really, really impactful. People are always saying, just like you at the beginning, thank you so much for helping me. I'm like, no, thank you. That's how I get my endorphins in my brain.
Yeah,
Anytime
I
I
do
can
too.
help.
Whenever I hear that 2 people connected and now they're doing a podcast or whatever.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
amazing.
Amazing. Once you have a certain amount of money, and after the HubSpot IPO, I got plenty of money, right? The question is, okay, what are you going to do with your life? What's your mission? How are you going to show up? How can you help? Right? And I just celebrated my 68th birthday. Oh, baby, on Monday.
Feel like
Listen, here. People like, you're 68? I'm like, well, in my brain, I'm 42, but like, that's my calendar age.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you, my wife said, what do you want for your birthday? Again, I want to close 3 deals. And she's like, okay, you're a sick man. Amazing. That's one of the jokes that I tell, right? That's pretty funny, right? But
That
it's
is
true.
right. I know the same.
I know. That's because you're a sales persona.
And then
Right.
I'll give myself a spiff. So I have
Exactly.
a spiff
Ooh.
program for myself. So when I close a
Amazing.
deal, I can pick
Amazing.
out certain things that I've pre-selected.
Amazing. Simon Sinek says if there's one person that believes in you, one person, it helps if it's not a related party, right? You will
Not your
do
mom.
amazing things. Exactly. Grandmas, moms, they're great, right? And the women in my life have been incredible in supporting my entrepreneurial career and teaching me stuff and learning kind of things. And I want to give a shout out to the incredible Amy Tyre, who I've been married to for 37 years. I steal all her content all the time. All the stuff that I say, she's like, "That's my content." I'm like, "I know. I give you credit for it." And she's like, "No, no, no. Don't steal my." That's a real inbound family when your husband or
She's
wife.
amazing.
I know. And then the focus on that mindset, I just have the energy and I deliver it, because if one person, Simon said, if one person believes you can, you're like, okay, Tyre thinks I can do it. And the reason I brought this up, my 68th birthday, I had 50 texts, like, I don't know, 40 emails. Like, I can't believe all the good stuff that you do. And it just made me cry. I got an SSP. Do you know what an SSP is?
No.
Shameless self-promotion. Right? I got a folder. I clipped that from Catherine Fisher, who is an early HubSpot salesperson, been there for 20 years. Amazing. She's like, "Do you have an SSP?" I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." She's like, "Do you have a list of all the nice things people say about you?" I'm like, "No." And so that's one of the things that when I do the TMP community update virtual on Thursday, August 13th, then we're going to talk about how to make 2026 your best year ever. Right. And just like you said, lots of people are feeling bad, feeling down, feeling like it's not a good, like, because of all the chaotic stuff in the world. And I was just talking to somebody. This is the first, like, I don't know, in the last 50 years, everything's changed because now we have to deal with technology. It's a lot more stressful than it was in the 1940s and 1950s, because you see right in front of you all these things that your brain diagnosed as something that you should be actively doing, even though we all know that's kind of crazy, but that's just chemicals in your brain signaling to you that you should be in a competition with whatever. And so you have to take the positive steps to understand, number one, 99% of your mindset is how you think of stuff. Number two, I'm not a big shoulda, woulda, coulda. Right. A lot of women in my life are like, "I should have done that. I could have done that." And I'm like, I've never said that. I have no regret. Number one, I have no need for external approval. People don't like me, I don't care. I don't like them. They don't have to hang out with me. Don't invite me to your party. By the way, I don't like parties. I have FOBI. Do you know FOBI?
No.
Fear of being included. I like to stay home with my beautiful wife. That's the only person I really like. All these other people, I'll just make excuses. If you ever need help in leaving a party, I am great at leaving a party, because after 7 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. Unless the food is great, in which case I'll put it in a little bag and
I
get lots of scratches.
used to work with a business partner who, when he came to speak, he even spoke at Inbound at one point, and he would say at the beginning, I have to leave right at the end. And so if you want to reach out to me, here's my email, but I'm not going to be able to stay and chat, because he just didn't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, I know. I'm not that social. My wife is very, very social. I prefer just to hang out and read or help people or do a lot of Zooms and things like that. Anyway, that mindset, number one, is important. Number two, the coulda, woulda, shoulda, the regret, the remorse, it's just wasting time, right? I don't know when I realized that. Somewhere around 45, I'm like, okay, all the things I worried about are all things I obsessed about. Whether my shirt was right, whether my glasses look good, wait, that's a bunch of crap. That's the benefit of being 68. Now I get to look back at all that stuff and, like, all those mistakes that I made, and share that with other folks. And then I want to be that person that you text. If you're having a bad day, I can riff 10 things off the top of my head makes Lori Richardson a superstar, right? Number one, your commitment to women in sales. Number two, you show up. Number three, your work in Pavilion, which is amazing. Number four, you're a great writer. Number five, who runs a program in Dallas and just out of the blue and gets corporate sponsorships to help showcase strong women in sales. Number six, you're an active part of our mentorship program. Number seven, you run a podcast. Number eight, you're a great salesperson. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm stuck at 8, but that's pretty good without any preparation, right? I'll think of 2 before the end of this podcast and I'll pop it in. Oh, you're not nice, you're kind, which apparently there's a difference. I know.
Big difference.
And you know everybody. That's number 10. You know everybody. When I say everybody, like, Mark Roberge, you just drop in that like it's a flex. Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. And you should be like, we're honored to have you here in Arizona. You are
my riches are my relationships, the people I know, the people that go back to Businessland days, which was prehistoric times, right?
That's everybody. That is everybody,
Yeah.
right? You don't need a like Maserati car. What you need is
Right.
strong relationship. The people who lean into their relationship and get strong. Now, to your point, you have to be brave and courageous. It's brave and courageous. And people say, yeah, but Tyre, like you have all these things. I didn't always have those things, number one. Number two, read the book, Learn Optimism. It will tell you that you can be as happy as you want to be. And as soon as you realize that, and you're like, no, if I can be as happy as I want to be, I'm going to take it to is whatever you want. I'm a big believer in personal responsibility. I'm a big believer in directing what you want to do. There's only one other caveat, and that is if the secret to life is to be intentional, say, this is what I'm going to do, right? And then you got to do it, right? And number 11 for you is you do a lot of stuff, right? You're very, very busy. You're not a talker. You're at least talker.
I do a little of that.
Oh, you do, but you do more acting. You actually do it, right? That's the hard part. That's where women excel, right? Guys are always, I think all we ought to do is this, right? What women do is actually do it. They do 90% of the work and get 10% of the credit, which is the whole reason why we're trying to change that. And you're doing your part, and hopefully
Well,
I'm doing my part as well.
thank you. A lot of people have left corporate and for many reasons, male and female, and I find that as an entrepreneur and a founder of your own business, you have to be both visionary and action oriented. You have to get stuff done. You can't just sit around talking about what you're going to do. You got to do it. So, and having the sales skills, doesn't it amaze you when you talk to founder? Because Dan, how many companies have you angel invested in? Do you think?
28. I have 23 live portfolio companies.
Wow.
Right? Worth about $500 million, right? And it's very, very interesting. About 40% are women-led companies. Women have the same ideas that men have, but harder to get venture capital.
Right.
So make our office hours available for anyone who is trying to scale, right? And happy to assist to the extent of my bandwidth. Right. And then Tyre Angel, we have made a variety of different investments. The last one, Imagi, which is a company that has a manufactured product that teaches girls how to master AI in K through 12.
Really?
Right. And Dora and Beatrice, who are the founders from Sweden. Right.
Huh.
They found me on LinkedIn, tracked me down. These two are amazing, right? Because they're always so prepared. Right. Even before I ask the question, they have it. They always have it. And the company is scaling very, very quickly, providing AI tools to K through 12, which is a hard market. And they just get it done. And like my friend is like, it's a great business for them to scale, and they're doing a great job.
Oh, that's so great to hear. I didn't know about that. But if people missed it, you actually hold office hours where people who are not your client can talk to you briefly about an idea or something and get your feedback. And that's amazing.
15 times a year. Yeah. Two days in Ukraine this year. And then I've done it in Boston. I'm going to do it in San Francisco. You can come meet me face to face. I do Phoenix in September, right?
Yep.
A couple of them are virtual because it's a little easier for me and a little easier for people outside, right? And the only requirement is you have to send me the 3 things that have you stuck, right? And after doing it for 20 years, by the way, office hours, I learned from Mike Volpe, the first CMO at HubSpot.
Yeah.
Right. He was between jobs, and he couldn't meet with me one day because he's doing office hours. I'm like, what's office hours? He goes, I just put up my schedule. If people want to talk to CMO of $1 billion software company, I'm going to help them out. I'm like, I'm stealing that. He's knock yourself out. Right. And I started doing it, and it's so much fun. I learned so much. It's a lot of helping. I just got some of the emails that I got over my birthday where people say, you met me at office hours 5 years ago. Let me tell you where I am today. And just playing that small part fulfills my soul. It just makes me feel great, right? Because that's a mission. It's a passion. Turns out I'm relatively proficient in helping companies scale.
Yeah.
Right. I'm very proficient in helping people understand that it's not all dark. Right. You got to be brave and courageous. And once you learn how to do it, right, you can be as happy as you want to be. You can be as productive as you want to be. Oh, the one thing that I forgot to add is if you get stuck, right, you raise your hand and ask for help, which is number 12 of why Lori Richardson's a superstar, because that's exactly, you said, Tyre, will you spend 30 minutes with me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course I would. You raised your hand and said, I need help. That's strength. That is
And
not a
now I'm
weakness.
stressed because we're running out of time, but I want to ask you one more thing about goal setting. Tell us what your philosophy about
All
goal
right.
setting.
So in 19, I think it was, my boss hired this guy, David Allen, to teach me how to be organized
I
because
know
I was
David Allen.
David Allen at that time was David Allen. Now he's David Allen. He wrote a book called Get Stuff Done.
Getting things done.
Getting
Yeah.
things done. He's retired now, but for
Yeah.
a long time, he was making $20,000 a day teaching people how to do it. And I carried a day timer. I still have him behind me for like 18 years, right? I write everything down. I do yell because he had this system that made a lot of sense. And as part of that, every year we'd sit down and we would put our goals in the day timer so that you could look at them all the time, right? And goal setting is a very important component of living a healthy life, right? Because the secret of life is being intentional, deciding what you want to do and then doing it. But if you don't decide what you want to do, and if it's not written out, then it's a dream. It's not really a goal. And so in 2024, 2025, I posted my goals on my website, dantyre.com. You could just Google Dan Tyre 2024, 2025 goals. And then at the end of the year, I say all the things that I have categories: business goals, spiritual goals, relationship goals, Tyre Angel goals, speaking goals, writing goals, all these kind of things. And then at the end of the year, the most fun I have is when I do them, I'm like, done. And I can't yellow them online anymore, but it's just like the same thing.
Yeah, I feel like that the intentionality piece is really important because it, especially I guess as a founder, as an entrepreneur, it's easy to go, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this." And you don't you're the only one to hold yourself accountable, right?
Yeah.
And when you put something out there, it's there in writing, it's for people to see, and it's much harder. And same with accountability partners and being in a group, like a community like yours. It can help you hold yourself to getting things done.
Exactly. All right. You got to figure it out. That's number 14, I think. We can go on for a lot of other reasons. And if you're ever feeling like a slug, there are plenty of reasons. You just text me. You're in my phone. I'm in your phone. You just text me and say, Dan, tell me those 3 things. And everybody should have them. This is a flex. This is not something that just happens randomly. You get your grandmother and 2 other people, right? And when you're feeling down, you're like, when I'm feeling, I'm going to ping you. And I want you to tell me all the good reasons why I'm a good person or why I'm a good salesperson or whatever like that. And that is the most fun. I get 1 or 2 a year, right? And some people say, I heard that on a podcast. And I'm like, how did you get my number? And they're like, I don't really know you, but, right, I can riff a handful of them. And I just want them to understand that if you think you can do it, you can do it. If you don't think you can do it, you're right. You won't be able to do it. But if you say, no, I am going to create a program to elevate women in sales, to give the early pioneers the visibility that they've always deserved, then what happens, Lori?
You do it.
Then you get it done, right?
Yeah.
If you don't, or if you're not intentional with that, it's much harder to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? People support it. People come and offer help. That's
Amazing.
what's amazing is that now there's a big community of people that are waiting for next year when we highlight the women that started selling in the 1990s. That's
Amazing.
yeah.
Okay, that's number 15 because you created that program. That program was something that you said,
Yeah.
no, this is important. No, I'm going to spend time and your own money on, right? I'm going to make this work. And then you busted your tail to make it happen. And you deserve the praise and acknowledgement. That'll be number 17, right? Of when I'm texting you all these kind of, it's going to be a long text. It's going to be a good text, right?
I'm going to need to play this recording back every Monday morning and to get me going. But
okay, if that's what you need, if you need Dan Tyre to tell you you're Lori Richardson, you can do anything. Oh, let's close on that note. That's my big thing, right? I tell everybody, right? You're Amy Tyre, you can do anything. You're Noel Friveros, you can do anything. You're Lori Richardson, you can do anything. And guess what? People start thinking, hey, maybe I can. And everybody, you especially, but lots of people have been through all these twists and turns. There's always potholes. There's things that you've had a battle. There's not a person in the United States that haven't had a battle through something, right? So that's proven you can do it once, right? If you hadn't had a battle through something, we'll throw you into a pothole so you can climb out. So you'll have at least one experience where you can battle. And then if you do it once, you could do it again, right? And that's just mental fortitude, motivation, and attitude.
wow. And your next call is August 13th.
August 13th for the Tyre mentorship program we call the TMP Community Update. I just hired Debbie Akintindo in Nigeria. She coordinates. She's the executive producer. Like she's got to run the whole thing. There'll be 100 or so people. Lori's always there, which is fun, right? There's breakout
Usually
rooms.
driving
Right?
Phoenix.
No bots. No bots. We don't let any bots in. We want to make sure that we'll send out the recording. And the more people that can hear the energy, hear the great stuff this August 13th, we're going to talk about how to make 2026 your best year ever.
Even though it's going on, right?
That's the flex, right?
Okay.
Forget about all that other stuff. All I care about is what's between your 2 ears. If you're having the greatest year ever, nothing else matters, right? And you get to decide. Everything else is head trash, which I learned from Jordan Martinez, who was, 19 years old. He goes, that sounds like head trash. And I'm like, ooh, I'm stealing that line too.
But the year's half over. You're saying you can still make it the best year ever.
Of course. Things are an incredible opportunity at every twist and turn. The question is, what are you going to do? Well, now what are you going to talk about, right? What are you going to do? How are you going to impact yourself, your family, your community? And don't give me all this stuff about things you can't control, right? If you can't control it, I don't want you to worry about it, right? Read, learn optimism, understand what you want to do, committed to writing, and then rock and roll. If you need help, let me know.
That's great. DanTyre.com.
That's
fantastic. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you, Lori.